It's Randy Orton. Oh,
I have voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me.
Hey guys, what's up? Mr. Beatlet99 here, and today I'm going to just be discussing, doing a kind of quick audio video, just on kind of why I personally didn't really enjoy the main event of Wrestlemania 32, and what are the kind of factors that I felt kind of held the match back from being, you know, a memorable or even good match. So obviously the main event of WrestleMania 32, if you didn't know, was Triple H versus Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight title. You know, Triple H was going in as the champion, Roman Reigns was going in as the challenger. And I think, off the bat, I think one reason why this match was failed, it was inevitable to fail from the start, was sort of just the fact that the crowd just they weren't really behind Roman Reigns at all, and they were much more behind Triple H, who was in the heel role. So obviously that kind of dynamic of, the heel being unanimously over and the face being treated like a heel, it was just inevitable from the start that this match was just going to just fail, really, because the crowd weren't invested in the story that the WWE were trying to kind of get across, which I think is a real shame. But at the same time, I understand why it was like that, and I can't necessarily say I blame the crowd, if I'm being honest. Now, into the actual kind of quality of the match itself, like, why do I think the sort of match quality of this main event was lackluster? And I think it's a similar kind of thing with Triple H versus Randy Orton, ironically. Triple H being involved in this time, same problem again. And it wasn't necessarily the fact that it had to follow, such a great match like WrestleMania 25, where Triple H and Orton had to follow Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, but it was more the kind of fact of just like, it's that problem of there were, this going in, both matches, were fairly personal, and they, had been resulting in the two fighting all over the arena and, everywhere, and, especially the Triple H Roman Reigns build-up, they've been fighting all over the place, and there've been blood and all this stuff. But then when they went into the match, there was just no. It was just a normal match. They just went in as like a normal wrestling match. Whereas if these two, and I know later on in the match they did sort of do some stuff, like Reigns opened up the barricade, Triple H attacked him with the table, by the announce table, that sort of thing. But I think the match would have been better if it was a no disqualification stipulation. But we never really got that, and the match almost ended in a count-out at one point. And I understand WrestleMania 31 had so many stipulations, like you had the Hell in the Cell between Shane and Undertaker, Dean and Brock Lesnar in the street fight, the IC title ladder match. Like, I get it, there were a lot of stipulations, but honestly, I think there were so many stipulations at this year's WrestleMania. I think having one more wouldn't really have affected it that much, in my personal opinion. I know a lot of people may have disagree with that, but that's just what I think. I think this just really needed that no DQ stipulation, that these guys could just go all out and tell the rest of the story, and because going into this, as I said, it had Reigns and Triple H beat the crap out of each other. Like, you had at one point Triple H make Roman Reigns bleed so much that he missed a couple of weeks off, in kayfabe. So I just don't understand the logic of them just then going out and just having a normal wrestling match with a couple of big spots, and having it being a normal match with countouts. Like, I just don't get the logic behind that personally. I just think that really could have helped the quality of the match. I know sometimes people say, you can't tell a story with weapons, and it could just turn into a spot fest. But I think that was the kind of storyline you needed to have weapons and that sort of thing, in my personal opinion. I just think the lack of crowd enthusiasm wouldn't have really helped. I think the crowd may have got into it a bit more if you had the no DQ stipulation, but instead of them just going out there and putting on a wrestling match, it's not really going to entertain the crowd unless the wrestling quality is really, really good. But unfortunately, Reigns is good in the ring, and so is Triple H. But Triple H is, definitely not what he once was. I'm not saying he's bad; he's still in great shape. But I think if they had that stipulation, it would have really benefited the two. You know, and I just think, I mean, I hate to say it, but just the predictability, like, I get it. You know, predictability can be a great thing in wrestling. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's the right thing to have the predictable outcome. You know, look at the Daniel Bryan thing. You know, it was kind of obvious, you know, going to WrestleMania, oh, he'd win both matches and win. It was still a great moment. It was still one of my favourite WrestleMania moments of all time. And I knew it was coming. But I still enjoyed it because it was what I wanted to see. It was the story I wanted to see told. But with this storyline, the predictability was something that the majority of fans just didn't want to see. And, you know, this is nothing against Roman Reigns. Like, you know, I just think, I don't even hate Roman Reigns, but I just think the majority of fans didn't want to see that story unfold. And they much rather would have seen something like, you know, Triple H retain, or even if he did win, you know, turn heel afterwards in some form of capacity. And you know what, fair play to WWE now that they're kind of, Reigns is going more in a kind of tweener kind of role. Like, he's not heel, but he's not face either. I quite like that idea. I think it's intelligent, but I just think, you know, you kind of sacrifice the main event just to kind of have Roman Reigns go on top. And, you know, I just think the kind of, the lack of, you know, there wasn't really a story, I think, told in that match either. I mean, it was good to see Stephanie McMahon get her comeuppance finally. I mean, it's about time something like that happened, but again, it just wasn't. I just think what was lacking was you needed a no DQ stipulation to continue telling that story, I think, and just, you know, I think the lack of support of Roman Reigns, and just the fact they went out there and went and had a normal wrestling match, it just really kind of wasn't a good match. Like, this match went on last, and I mean, I live in the UK, I live in England, and you know, it was really late. It was about you know, getting on about 4:30 in the morning, and I was really tired going into this main event. And when I watched it with a lot of my friends, they were really tired as well. And I was thinking, like, oh, right, you know, maybe if I watch this match, maybe it will wake me up. Because you know what, a good wrestling match can really do that sort of thing. And the match I nearly fell asleep a good couple of times in that match. I was so tired. And the match didn't create any excitement for me. And I nearly fell asleep. I just think that's kind of, well, in my personal opinion, why I didn't really enjoy the WrestleMania 32 main event. So I hope you guys kind of enjoyed that little rant of mine. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe.